Hi, gang. It's Patrick.
And Adam.
Coming up on today's episode, we check in on past GDTD guests in our feature segment, Gays Do the Distance. As always, we discuss the latest Disney news, and we close out the show with some quick D. All that and more on today's episode of Gays Do the D.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
Adam, Oprah Hummel.
Patrick, Butterscotch Puddin' Kazuki.
I love butterscotch pudding, so thank you for that.
So do I. I think a lot of people don't like pudding, and I get the association with maybe the elderly and it's easier for them to ingest, but I love a good pudding. Pistachio, butterscotch, all the puddings.
I like all puddings except for tapioca pudding. That can go right in the garbage can.
You do have a thing about textures, don't you?
It's true. It's true. That just tastes like you're eating fish eyes.
Well, I'll eat all of your tapioca pudding.
Thank you. That is mildly erotic, so thank you for that.
It does sound erotic and slightly disgusting, doesn't it?
Very much so. Very much so. How are you, sir? How are you holding up?
I'm doing quite well. How are you doing?
Good. The same. I've been finding new ways and old ways to keep busy. Just, I don't know what day it is, though, still. Is it Wednesday? Is it June? Who knows? Who can say?
Yes, everything's a bit of a blur, and in particular because we've been doing so many interviews the past week for not only this week's feature segment, but also next week's feature segment, that it seems like we've just been podcasting every single day, which is kind of the truth. We've just been recording every single day.
I've been very grateful for that. It has made my days go by faster. We've been talking to so many friends. It's brought in a lot of unexpected joy and delightful conversations that I was not expecting to have.
Are you telling me that you want to start releasing GDTD daily?
That's exactly what I'm saying. Are you ready for that?
I'm not.
Okay, great. Great. Then we won't do it. You know what's strange about that is that we've been so busy, and it's not like we've been insanely overwhelmed, but lately just any activity has been requiring far more energy than usual, I feel like.
It is a dramatic production from me. I am completely melodramatic about any kind of activity that requires me to put any thought into it whatsoever.
Yeah, you've been a real nightmare, Adam. Even
outside a pandemic, am I not a real nightmare?
No, it's good to know that things haven't changed too much for you.
I'm your constant.
You're my North Star.
I'm your touchstone during this pandemic.
My totem, if you will.
Well, speaking of pandemics.
Uh-oh.
We need to remind everybody that we're still recording remotely, obviously. So you could hear some technical issues, but you know what? At this point, deal with it.
I'm going to go ahead and say you will. You will hear some technical issues.
Deal with it.
Deal with it. Move on. Give us some slack. I feel like we deserve it. You know what I mean? We just deserve it.
I can already tell this episode's going to be punchy.
It's true. It's true. I'm running on about 3 hours of sleep and some hope.
Thank God we got that pudding conversation out of the way, though.
I mean, that's the real news here.
Quality podcasting coming at you right at the start of the episode. Well, Patrick, we have a number of new Tweedles that we need to welcome to the podcast.
That is super exciting. I have been enjoying watching that list grow as the week has gone on.
So many new friends have reached out to us and said, hey, I just discovered your podcast. And we truly appreciate that you take the time to let us know. First up, we have Carl, who you can find on Instagram at CarlJMW. Carl and his husband are massive Disney fans from across the pond who go to Disney World every summer, Patrick.
Which pond?
Harper's Mill Pond out back.
Got it. Awesome.
No, I'm talking about the Atlantic Ocean, Patrick.
Our voices travel that far?
You know what? I was going to come up with a clever quip about that, but I'm actually kind of amazed at the fact that we can sit here in Minnesota and record something and someone in England can listen to it. So I'm having a sincere moment. On this podcast, Patrick.
Well, that's a first. Although I do believe that our voices do travel that far because lately it just seems like I'm screaming into the wind. So I fully understand it.
I thought I was the melodramatic one. Damn, Patrick.
Moving on, we also have a new listener, John, who joins us. He is on Instagram, Sailing Whalen Podcast. He is the host and creator of the Sailing Whalen Podcast, where he is a cruise ship performer, but he also interviews other cruise ship performers.
He's on a Disney cruise, Patrick. I mean, not currently, but that's his gig.
So much magic.
We need to have him on Gaze Do the D, don't you think?
Only in trade for free tickets to the cruise ship.
That sounds like a fair deal to me.
That is beyond a fair deal. Have you heard our podcast, Adam? We are international.
That's right. You know, when John reached out to us, he also mentioned that he happened to meet Nina West on a Disney cruise last year, and he said she was absolutely amazing.
I don't believe that for a moment. Just kidding. She is absolutely amazing.
We also had Derek and Jonathan reach out to us. You can find them both on Instagram at D2Man85 and JMyers1782.
Well, hello, Derek and Jonathan. And last but not least, we have Matt, who is a new listener. Matt can be found on Snapchat at MattyIce2K152. Snapchat. Does Gaze Do the D have a Snapchat account, Adam?
We don't, but he reached out to us on Instagram and preferred to remain anonymous there. And so he said, but I can give you my Snapchat.
I have so many questions about why one would want to be reached out to on Snapchat, but I feel like I already know the answers and I am here for it.
Listen, go and have fun on Snapchat. That's what I say. We are all in lockdown. Run to Snapchat. Things happen there, I've heard.
It's true. Ironically, not a lot of chat happens on Snapchat. You know what I mean?
I need to start a new app called SnapFat.
Oh my God.
I think it's pretty self-explanatory what you're going to see there.
I am stealing that and I am using it for my new food blog. Which will not feature tapioca pudding.
Well, welcome to all of our new Tweedles. We are so grateful that you have decided to have us in your ears.
Oh my. That happens on Snapchat too, I think. Well, Adam, speaking of being inappropriate online, I don't know if you remember, but this past Friday, I was invited by Ben from Once Upon a Scream podcast to join him on an Instagram live stream.
I thought you two were fabulous. I had an opportunity to check in. I got to see about the first 15 to 20 minutes of it.
Oh, okay.
And you two have fantastic chemistry. You might want to fire me.
I do want to fire you, Adam, but you own 50% of this company.
I own 51% of PepsiCo.
No, we had an amazing time. I won't lie to you. By the end of it, I was a little buzzed. I had 2 drinks in an hour.
Is that out of the ordinary for you?
You're right. I don't know why I was buzzed. I hadn't eaten that day. Maybe that's why. I needed to keep my girlish figure for being on film. That backfired quickly.
I heard Instagram Live adds 25 pounds.
It really does. It really does. No, we had an amazing time. We had been chatting, Ben and I, for quite a while because we have been trying to do a crossover episode. We just haven't gotten those stars aligned yet. But this was the first time we've ever chatted face to face, quote unquote, and even voice to voice. So it was super fun to get to know him better. He's an absolute sweetheart and a dream, and he's hilarious. They are basically, we keep saying this, they are the UK version of our podcast. It's so fun. They call us their sister podcast, which is cute.
Oh, that's so cute. Yeah, I thought you guys were really great together. You played off each other so well. And I like the coming together of 2 countries.
It's true. We're the real heroes in this story.
I think so. I think that you two are broadcasting an international kind of friendship that we could all really dive into right now and enjoy.
Yeah, everyone can learn from us. So reach out to your international friends and go on Instagram Live with them is the moral of that story.
I think you guys should do this again very soon.
Oh, we absolutely will. Afterwards, we were both sort of giddy with how much fun it was. So whether or not people are watching, we're probably still going to do it again.
And Mikey and I are going to do our own Instagram Live.
You absolutely should. I think that should absolutely happen.
We're going to be talking about the War of 1812.
That feels correct.
Focusing on some big historical moments. A lot of lives lost.
I have nothing to add to that. That's all I need in my life is a deep dive on Instagram Live about the War of 1812.
I don't know why I went there. But congratulations on your live stream. Was that your first live stream ever?
Yes, he popped my live stream cherry.
Well, he was the perfect guy to do it. And again, I don't know if congratulations is the right word to say, but you guys really were very entertaining, and it was just such a delight to watch both of you.
Well, thank you. We had an absolute blast. I appreciate that.
Speaking of an absolute blast, Patrick.
Hey-o!
I don't know if you recall, but last Thursday we dropped a very special episode of Gays Do the D featuring our interview with the fabulous Disney-loving drag queen Nina West.
Nina West, the heart of season 11 of RuPaul's Drag Race.
That's right. She won Miss Congeniality that season.
And I totally understand why. She was as charming could be.
We were so fortunate to be able to spend that time with her and ask her all of those questions we've wanted to ask her for so long. It was one of those dream interviews, and we were so fortunate to be able to do it.
It's true. We've really been blessed with a lot of wonderful interviews, and she is just this wonderful crossover, of course, of gay culture and Disney that fits so perfectly with what we do here. So it was such a great time, and I hope everyone got a chance to listen to it. If you haven't, it'll give you a nice, I think, insight to a side of Nina that I don't think you normally get to see. So I don't want to say that we're groundbreaking interviewers, but we really crushed it.
I don't want to say we're groundbreaking interviewers because that would be a lie.
I don't know what you're talking about.
But you know what? We like to have fun, and we certainly did in that interview with Nina. She was great.
We did. So thank you, Nina, and thank you to her whole team for making that magic happen for us.
And to extend that magic, we decided to have a giveaway of Nina West Drag is Magic enamel pin sets. We're actually giving away 2 sets. One set will be given away to one of our Instagram followers, and one set will be given away to one of our Patreon members.
The perks of being a Patreon member are growing and growing every week.
So let's announce that right now. I have the pleasure of announcing the winner of the Instagram giveaway, and that winner is JJ, who you can find on Instagram at JSquare3. We actually had the pleasure of meeting JJ when we were in Disneyland last year for Gay Days.
Very true. JJ and his husband and their beautiful children.
I know his daughter Maya is going to love this pin set.
It's an amazing pin set. I think I'm going to buy a set for myself as well.
Yeah, 3 pins. 2 could be earrings, because I know your ears are pierced. And 1 could be a piercing for your... Oh,
dear. We should move on to the next winner.
Yes, please.
All right, moving on. We have a surprise Patreon winner. Drum roll, please. Isolation. Boom.
You made it so topical.
Thank you. And the winner of the Nina West Drag is Magic enamel pin set on Patreon is Daniel. Daniel is our newest Patreon family member. So thank you so much, Daniel. I know for a fact that Daniel is going to love this prize because he is a Disney pin collector.
Oh, that's amazing. And see, everybody, dreams can come true. You can join Gays Do the D's Patreon one day, and the next day you win a Nina West pin set.
I mean, drag and Disney really are magic.
Magic, Patrick.
Well, congratulations to Daniel and JJ on your win. I had to move on from that, Adam, because it was such a great transition.
We'll reach out to both of you and get your information and get those pin sets off to you ASAP.
Absolutely. And we have some more celebrations to talk about, Adam, in the form of anniversaries. So we've got 1 movie to celebrate and 1 location to celebrate an anniversary for. We'll start out with the oldest one, the movie turning 37 years old. It was released on April 29th, 1983. The live-action movie, Something Wicked, This Way Comes.
Ooh, I have not seen that.
It's a really spooky movie. It's about this sort of like evil, deranged circus that comes to town and wreaks havoc on a small town.
It sounds like my origin story.
Well, it is based off of a novel, so it's possibly your diary.
Possibly. Moving on, turning 31 years old, this location opened on May 1st, 1989. Adam, do you know what it is? We're going back to old-time Hollywood. It's Disney MGM Studios.
It's true. Originally called Disney's MGM Studios, now known as Hollywood Studios, opened on May 1st, 1989.
I went shortly after its opening, and for a little gay boy from the Midwest, it was an absolute dream because I was obsessed with Hollywood as a kid. Movies and, the Hollywood kind of lifestyle, and to be able to walk into an old Hollywood studio was just like a dream come true.
For sure. I think Hollywood Studios has my favorite sort of grand entrance into their theme parks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the aesthetic of that park is right on point. It's that kind of Art Deco pastel dream.
And it kind of just hits you right away with the music and the ambiance, and there's characters right away. You don't have to go too far into the park itself to really be immersed in it.
Absolutely. It's fantastic.
So happy anniversary to Disney's Hollywood Studios, and happy anniversary to Something Wicked This Way Comes.
Before we throw it to the news, we just want to throw out a reminder that Crooked Media has established the Coronavirus Relief Fund, where your donation will be distributed equally to help groups providing critical support to those who need it most. To make a donation, visit gaysdothed.com and click on the Coronavirus Relief tab at the top of the screen. And Patrick, you know how I love to give an update on how they're doing. As of this recording, they have $1.8 million.
That is incredibly inspiring. Also, as a reminder, they are selling face masks on their website as well, and 100% of those proceeds are going directly into that fund. So if you are in need of a face mask, you now know where to go.
And we are in no way affiliated with Crooked Media. We just are fans of theirs and really dig what they're doing in trying to provide assistance for those who really need it right now.
Yeah, it was a fund that really inspired both of us because it goes to so many locations. It wasn't just sort of narrowed down to one place that we had to hang our hat on, but to many places that are really in need. So it was an easy choice for us to join up with them to help them raise funds.
And Patrick, I was truly, truly honored to be able to give $1 million of that $1.8 million.
How gracious of you.
Let's not draw attention to it, but just know that I gave the $1 million.
So don't treat you any differently then, is what you're saying.
Patrick, I don't want attention drawn to it. I just want to mention casually that I gave $1 million to the Coronavirus Relief Fund.
It's weird that you requested a statue to
Why are we still talking
erected.
about this? Why are we still talking
fair
about
enough.
this?
We should quickly move on to the news to distract from your generosity.
We're going to take a break from covering COVID-19 stories this week as it relates to Disney, but I did want to mention this one news story. Disney animator Anne Sullivan has passed away at the age of 91 from COVID-19. Prior to reading her obituary, Patrick, I didn't know who Anne Sullivan was, but she had a long and amazing career with the Walt Disney Company, working on some of the studio's most heralded films. According to the New York Times, Anne Sullivan began working for Walt Disney Animation in the studio's vast paint lab in the 1950s and contributed her talents to 1953's Peter Pan. After leaving the studio to care for her children, she returned to work on Disney films like Oliver and Company, The Little Mermaid, The Lion King, Pocahontas, and Hercules. Anne was an avid painter. Two of her paintings, semi-abstract renditions of Goofy and Daisy Duck, hung in her bedroom. She also taught art to neighborhood children near the family's home in California. So, Patrick, Anne's obituary really stood out to me. We see these obituaries come through that are related to people who worked for Disney. But as I mentioned, I didn't know who Anne was, and yet here was this woman who contributed so much to so many of the Disney movies that we really love.
It's true. It always fascinates me how one person involved with the company can have had such an impact or have touched so many of these Disney treasures that we love so much. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think as fans, we tend to look big picture at Disney. And when you get down to it, it's these people who have lived these extraordinary lives who are the details of these movies. They bring the small little touches, the little moments that we embrace as fans. So it's sad news, but I also just wanted to draw attention to her life. It's someone who I wasn't aware of, and I think as Disney fans, we owe her a debt of gratitude. So thank you, Anne.
Earlier this year, Adam, we reported on the newborn zebra foal born to mommy zebra Heidi. Mother and baby are still doing well, and this past week, they joined the rest of the herd in the Kilimanjaro Safari in Disney's Animal Kingdom. Now, usually, the naming of newborn animals falls on the cast members in the animal care team, but this time, the vote was opened up to all Disney World cast members. So, we would like to officially welcome Asha into the world. Asha means hope in Sanskrit and life in Swahili, so a very fitting name given to this newborn zebra. On Asha's first day out, she was running and playing with the other members of the herd. She met a giraffe for the first time, and she had her first taste of grass on the savannah. She also heard the call of a hyena for the first time. As we reported before, Asha is a Hartmann's mountain zebra, which are found in sub-Saharan Africa. They are a vulnerable species due to hunting and habitat loss. Disney is dedicated to the survival and conservation of this beautiful species. In other baby name news, the porcupette that was recently born to Mama Porcupine Perry has also been given a name. The prickly baby was named Shelley. She was named after the veterinary operations manager who played a very important role in the baby's birth. Because of Shelley's, the manager, not the porcupette, training and work with the mother porcupine, Perry was able to participate in ultrasound sessions, some of which were documented in one day at Disney on Disney+. Baby Shelley, the porcupette, growing quickly, has already tripled her birth weight and now weighs just over 2 pounds. To learn more about the Hartmann's zebras and the prehensile-tailed porcupines, you can visit DisneyAnimals.com, and you can head over to the Disney Parks blog to see a video of Asha's first day in the safari and updated adorable photos of baby Shelley, the porcupette, not the manager.
I've got 2 things to say, Patrick.
I assumed you would.
First, what's with all these animals being social and like out in public with other animals and just rubbing it in our faces?
It seems rude, doesn't it?
It seems incredibly rude. They should be more sensitive to their fellow earthlings who may not be able to socialize right now. Don't you think so?
I do. I think in this time, it's really about us and not about the animals, Adam.
It's absolutely about us. Animals, take note. Second of all, how come the animals of Animal Kingdom are always like, there's always one that's named like Savannah Raka, and then there's one that's named like Doug. Why is there like never like a middle ground there? It's always like Shufra Raptia, and then it's like Pat.
Wow, your examples are spot on. I have to say that first of all. That's a great question. These are the hard-hitting questions that we need to ask more often here on Gaze Do the D.
I think so.
I'm going to dig into that for you, Adam, for sure, and I'll get back to you very likely never.
I've got some Disney Plus updates for you, Patrick.
Fantastic.
We have yet to experience Season 2 of Disney Plus's original Star Wars series, The Mandalorian, but Disney has announced that Season 3 is already in the works. According to an April 21st, 2020 Variety exclusive, quote, sources close to the production have confirmed that creator Jon Favreau has been writing Season 3 for a while, and that the art department, led by Lucasfilm Vice President and Executive Creative Director Doug Chiang, has been creating concepts for Season 3 for the past few weeks. Season 2 of The Mandalorian, which is set to premiere in October, wrapped production in early March, just before the first coronavirus shelter-in-place orders came into effect. So, Patrick, we have confirmation that Season 2 is, quote-unquote, in the can, so to speak. Perhaps, as we discuss in our upcoming interview with Becca, we might see the season premiere a bit early on Disney+, huh?
Who can say?
I can say, make it happen, Disney. You've got nothing else to do.
Well, this all hangs on Baby Yoda's performance. So if they have to do any reshoots, we're out of luck here.
He's known to be quite difficult on set, I've heard.
That's what I've heard. That's what I've heard too.
Moving on, prominent female characters in the Star Wars galaxy have always been in short supply, but that will soon be changing if Russian Doll co-creator Leslie Headland has anything to say about it. According to yet another Variety exclusive, this one posted on April 22nd, 2020, a new Star Wars series is in development at Disney Plus by Headland, which sources say will be a female-centric series that takes place in a different part of the Star Wars timeline than other projects. Headland is said to be attached to write and serve as showrunner on the series, with the show currently staffing. Headland directed multiple episodes of the Netflix series Russian Doll. The show was nominated for 13 Emmy Awards for its first season, ultimately winning 3. So this is fantastic news, Patrick. We're getting a female-centric Star Wars story.
You know, with an entire galaxy to play with, a fictional galaxy, no less, it seems strange that it took them this long to find some female characters.
Where were they? And how are all of these babies being born?
Well, if you need me to explain how babies are born, Adam, I think we need to take this offline here.
I have questions.
In other Star Wars news, though the parks are currently closed, you can still study up on Star Wars Galaxy's Edge and return to the land like a professional. June 23rd is the release date of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge Traveler's Guide to Batuu by Cole Horton. The guidebook will offer advice on what to do and see in the land, along with full-color photos, illustrations, maps, and materials from Lucasfilm and Walt Disney Imagineering. You'll also learn backstories to characters and locations found in Black Spire Outpost. The official description of the book reads, "This official guide to Batuu is written completely in-world, as if you are a visitor from another part of the galaxy looking for recommendations on where to eat, shop, and sightsee while on your trip to this exciting location. Whether living your adventure in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge or simply being an armchair traveler, this in-depth itinerary companion will delight any fan of Star Wars." The book will retail for $19.99 and is available now for pre-order on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. June 23rd will also serve as the release date for Star Wars Book of Lists, also by Cole Horton. This book will offer facts about the worlds and characters of the Star Wars franchise. The description reads, "Star Wars, the Book of Lists, takes a fascinating look at the galaxy far, far away through trivia culled from both on-screen and off over the history of the franchise. More than a simple accounting of fan-favorite characters or biggest opening weekends, the book is a compendium of the most compelling facts about the saga and fandom summarized in 100 lists. Some of the questions answered in the book are: which character has been to the most planets? What are the deadliest creatures in the galaxy? And who shared the most memorable kisses?" So just the basics there. The facts that everyone needs to know.
Who shared the most memorable kisses?
The answer actually is Jar Jar Binks, strangely enough.
That tongue.
It's true. The book will retail at $24.99 and is also available now for pre-order on Amazon and Barnes & Noble.
How hilarious would it be if the guide to Black Spire Outpost had alien reviews in it of like Oga's Cantina and Doc Ondar's Den of Antiquities?
That's an amazing idea.
5 Glarkblats. We loved it.
It's just... Hey, Adam.
Hey, Patrick.
You know, normally around this time in the series of podcast episodes, we probably would be reviewing another movie right about now. And frankly, Adam, I cannot watch another minute of TV.
You have had it.
I've had it. I've run out of me sitting on my bum, eating popcorn and watching another movie.
I guess that's better than eating popcorn with your bum.
That might be next. I don't know. It's getting weird over here.
Yeah, just try new things. You've got nothing but time on your hands.
Experimentation. No, but you and I were talking, Adam, and we decided that it was time to check in with some of our friends. We're going through a weird period in our history right now. It's affecting all of us, our Tweedledees, ourselves. And we thought, you know what? Let's check in with our past guests. Let's do a pulse check with all of our friends that we've had on the podcast before, and maybe add some distance to Gays Do the D, some Gays Do the Distance.
Oh, Patrick. You've done it again.
I can't be stopped. With the puns. So over the past week, you and I have been making phone calls to our friends and checking in with them and secretly recording them.
That's right. Secretly recording them, asking them how they're doing, finding out how they've been handling this whole weirdness, and asking them how they've been incorporating some Disney magic into their lives while being in isolation.
Absolutely. And then we tricked them into participating in a miniature Walt Quizney.
Those fools. They had no idea it was coming.
It's right. You know, what's funny, Adam, is before we started this whole process, you and I were sort of speculating on whether or not we would get maybe one or two people to fill an entire episode for this check-in episode. And I don't want to say surprisingly, but surprisingly, every single person that we have interviewed in the past has graciously agreed to give up some of their time to spend with us. It was such a thrill to see the flood of emails coming in of people who wanted to participate.
The gratitude they expressed for Gays Do the D changing their lives.
I think it was just gratitude to be doing anything at all right now.
Do you know what this reminds me of? Do you remember on sitcoms when they used to do flashback episodes where like they would show clips from previous episodes and be like, remember that time you invited my boss over for dinner and you burned the roast?
I do. I know exactly what you're talking about. It's when all of the actors were too tired to do another full episode, so they did flashbacks.
What are you saying? You're saying we're too tired. That's what you're saying.
I am absolutely saying that, Adam.
But unlike those episodes, we were not lazy in that we actually reached out to our friends and our previous interviewees and did the work, Patrick. We did the work to find out where they're at right now.
It's true. And as we said, we got everybody to participate. So this is actually going to be a 2-part series. This week and next week, you will hear interviews from all of our past guests on Gays Do the D.
And we should note before we dive into this that the audio quality on each will be different.
It's true. A little behind the scenes unmagic is that we experienced something a little bit quirky each time we tried to record an interview. It was pretty funny. But we managed to salvage something out of it and stitch an episode together for you.
Wow, you really know how to sell this, Patrick.
Listen, this is what we got, folks.
Well, let's dive into this. Who's up first, Patrick?
First up, we have Anna, who originally appeared on Gays Do the D episode 10. She was on to do a trip recap of her very first Run Disney half marathon for the 2018 Wine and Dine half marathon weekend.
It was such a treat to have her on and hear all about her very first Run Disney experience. You can find Anna on Instagram at Anna Weg. That's Anna W-E-G-G.
So please enjoy our Gays Do the Distance interview with Anna. Welcome back to the pod, Princess Anna.
Thank you. I hope to be a queen someday.
How are you, my friend?
I'm good. I'm hanging in there.
For those listening at home, I just want to let you know that Anna is wearing a Space Mountain t-shirt and she's drinking from a Space Mountain mug.
Yeah, it's so much. Did you know that this t-shirt is a vintage 2002?
I don't remember that far back.
Yeah, I got it in high school when my high school choir went to Disney World. It was like $21. And back then that was pretty much like all the money I had. And it's in perfect condition. I wear it every time I go to Disney now. And employees will stop me and be like, oh, where did you get that? And I'll tell them how old it is. And then it's usually older than they are.
The only thing I got out of that story was a delightful view of your breasts on Zoom.
Thank you. They're trying. They're in a bra today. It's been a long, long time.
Oh, you got dressed up for the podcast. Thank you.
Anna, I must ask, is that the first time your breasts have been seen on Zoom?
I mean, I have at least 7 Zoom meetings a day. I mean, I almost always try to crop them out. But I'm letting them fly for the two of you. Also, as a special gift, I put on jeans today for the first time in 3 or 4 weeks. And I feel like that's a good practice just to see if they still fit, like as a fun game.
Those are called hard pants now.
Hard pants. That's right. You both look great. You're wearing, okay, Adam, you've got a Gaze Do the D shirt on. Patrick, you've got your half marathon zip, and you both look like perfect.
Well, I won't disagree with you, Anna. We do look perfect.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like that's where we should just end this segment because we can't get really much better than that. Yeah.
So, Anna, you were last on the pod way back on episode 10, which I believe was in November of 2018, which feels like 3,000 years ago.
It does. You and I ran the Wine and Dine half marathon together. And I am so proud of that accomplishment. And I think about it all the time. And I would like to do it again someday.
Anytime you want to, you let me know. We'll go.
Today.
All right. That's great. Let's do it. Let's do it. So since then, I imagine quite a few things have changed and happened in your life. Anything you care to announce to our Tweedledees at home regarding a certain ring that's on your finger now? I don't know.
Oh, sure. Well, I had a lovely pandemic wedding this past weekend. You guys were going to come. We were going to have a big, huge theater wedding with a live band and karaoke and catering on Saturday, April 11th. And we've found out quite a while ago that probably could not happen, for safety reasons. And also just frankly, it's like really not legal to gather like that. And I would hate to put anyone at risk of infection. So, we decided to change the date to September, which frankly might not happen either. We'll have to see what the state of the world is. But my husband, which feels so weird to say, husband, is a healthcare worker. And so we decided to go ahead and get the papers signed. It's kind of sad and scary, but just in case, as a worst case scenario, we're married now. And so the papers have been signed. 4 people attended. His mother married us. His father, who used to be a famous musician in the 60s in Minnesota, he played In My Life by the Beatles for us. And then I had 2 friends wearing masks, taking video and photo from far away. And so that was, round 1 of my wedding this past weekend. And it was beautiful and it was fun. And frankly, just like this recording today, it was nice to have something on the calendar because so many trips, projects, theater things, social gatherings that all of us had planned are just knocked off the calendar now. And it was just nice to have something to do that day. And I couldn't be happier to be married to my husband and just, be in this pandemic together forever. But hopefully the pandemic won't be forever.
For those listeners at home, what may have sounded like an audio glitch was just Anna saying the word husband as ridiculously as she could, and it was amazing.
It's a ridiculous word, husband. I mean, you know, Patrick, you probably are used to saying it after all these years, but I hate the word boyfriend, and the word husband just sounds so formal. I don't know. He's my dude.
So have you officially transitioned into Maggie Smith during this pandemic?
Oh, I wish. Yes. If I have to transition into someone, it would be her. Also, I hope she's doing okay. I don't think she's like on Twitter. We can't really check on her, can we?
I checked in with her yesterday and she's fine.
Okay, good.
Well, your pictures looked absolutely beautiful, Anna. I'm so glad that you shared them with us. And I'm so happy and proud for you. We are both so happy and proud for you, and we can't wait to celebrate you when this all clears up. I'll stay optimistic that it'll be soon. And if we need to, we'll just do like a parade of cars driving by you and celebrating you in September.
Thank you so much. That would be lovely. And I will just keep moving it until we can all be together. And thank you for saying nice things about the photos. I did submit them to the New York Times because they are looking for pandemic wedding examples. So the New York Times, if you are listening, check your inbox.
They certainly are. They certainly are listening.
So, Anna, we have to ask, since this all started and since we're unable to make Disney trips, is there anything you're doing other than sporting fantastic vintage T-shirts and drinking from coffee cups, sporting a Space Mountain graphic? Is there anything else you're doing at home to kind of get your Disney fix?
Yes, there's something I've been dying to talk about. So I have a Disney Plus subscription, and I have been watching more TV than should be legal. And there is something at Disney Plus that is so deep in the archives that I had to type out the entire title for it to pop up in the search results. And that is the 1998 reality TV Disney show Bug Juice. Have you heard of this?
I have. I've never seen, I think I maybe have seen like one episode of it and never really got into it. But yeah, it is extraordinary.
Treat yourself. There is one season. I think there's like a surprising amount of episodes, maybe 18. They're 23 minutes long. It is a reality TV show about kids at a camp. And just for the record, Survivor debuted in 2000. So this reality TV show was the first one I ever saw. I was in early high school, like a freshman in high school when it came out. And I feel like it influenced all the reality TV we know today because there's quick cuts, there's flashy title cards, there's confessionals that the kids do, there's drama, there's intrigue, there's dating, there's kissing, and there's kids that miss their parents. It's just everything addicting about reality TV and everything that's just real human emotion. And it's starring kids, and kids are given the emotional depth that they truly have. They're not actors, there's no scripts. It's just totally delightful. And when I heard that Disney Plus was going to be a thing, I prayed that Bug Juice was going to be on it. And it absolutely is. So that's what I will be doing. I rewatched the pilot today, and I will be going through the whole thing and kind of reliving these moments. And I remember these children who are probably like lawyers and doctors today.
That's amazing. And I had not heard of that show, but I know a lot of our listeners will sincerely appreciate that call out and will now immediately going to Disney Plus because I'm sure they remember it and they will want to check it out.
I just think it's so cool that Disney was on the forefront of this whole genre. I mean, they are on the forefront of so many things. And I just it blew my mind how, I was watching it with my husband, and he said, oh, this had to have been late 2000s. Look, that's a Skype interview right there. Or look, they didn't have this kind of graphic technology. And it was 1998. They are very good at what they do. And I feel like it has influenced countless shows since then.
Yeah, it was sort of Disney's answer to MTV's The Real World.
When did that come out?
I think it was the early 90s.
Well, there you go. And I loved Real World back then too, so...
Well, Anna, we're so glad that you're safe and healthy and that you're married and locked down and not a wild woman anymore. But before we let you go, we need to ask you some questions related to Disney. Unexpected, I know.
I'm very bad at trivia, and I'm excited to just fail big on this, so let's do it.
I think you're going to do great. So here are the categories that you have to choose from, Anna. You have attractions, movies, music, food, and then there's a grab bag where the questions are worth 2 points. The questions are harder, but they're worth 2 points, Anna. So what category do you want to start with?
Okay, so I work at a radio station, so let's do music. Will you be singing to me?
Patrick?
If the time seems appropriate, I will absolutely sing to you. And it is always appropriate to sing to you.
Ooh, good start. Okay, great. Let's do this.
All right, Anna. Which of these movies did Alan Menken not write music for? Tangled, Aladdin, Mulan, Enchanted.
Enchanted.
I'm sorry, it's Mulan.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you.
I can't wait to insert that loud buzzer sound. That means you're incorrect. Moving on to question 2, Anna, which category would you like, or would you like to stick with music?
Actually, let's do food, please.
Food it is. Are you ready?
Yes.
What popular food or snack item cannot be purchased in a Disney park?
This is not multiple choice.
It is not.
Gum.
That is the correct answer.
Woo! That's because I listened to your podcast. That's where I learned that.
All right, Anna, last question. This is for all the marbles. You have 1 point.
Oh my gosh. I need this.
Do you want another category? We still have attractions, movies, and the infamous grab bag that's worth 2 points.
I can't up my level of difficulty, so let's do attractions.
All right, Anna. Going to one of my very favorite attractions. How many ghosts or happy haunts inhabit the Haunted Mansion?
Oh my gosh. How did you even find this answer? It's Googleable?
It's going to the parks and paying attention on the rideable.
Okay, I'm going to guess 215.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing with you, first of all.
I am absolutely laughing at you.
It's actually 999 happy haunts.
I thought you were going to say like 17. Okay. Okay. I actually feel okay about that. You counted all of those yourself?
No, they say on the ride there's 999 happy haunts, but we always have like room for one more to make it 1,000.
Of course. Come on, Waggle. Okay. Sorry.
I'm proud of you. You got 1 point.
Thank you.
Well, Anna, this has been a real mistake checking in with you, knowing that you haven't learned anything about Disney since last time. But we are so glad that you are doing well. You seem to be safe and happy and healthy, and we couldn't ask for anything more.
Thank you so much. And thank you for providing this amazing weekly source of entertainment. You have been on so many dog walks with me. I can't even tell you. And I laugh along with you as if I am in the room. And I'm sure I have gotten many side eyes and many confused glances from fellow dog walkers. So thank you for keeping this going even through tough times.
Side note, Patrick, we need to come up with GDTD themed poop bags.
You don't use your old t-shirts to do it?
I'll buy them all.
Next up, we check in with Broadway husbands Brett Shuford and Stephen Hanna.
That's right. They originally appeared on Gaze Do the D, episode 47, and we had such a good time talking to them all about their love for Disney. They are exceptional Disney bounders. Their Instagram is amazing to watch with their Disney bounding photos.
Absolutely. So we highly recommend you check out episode 47. You can find the Broadway Husbands on Instagram at Broadway Husbands. They also have a brand new podcast called the Broadway Husbands Podcast, and you can find them online at BroadwayHusbands.com. Those two sure know how to brand themselves.
It's true. So without further ado, our interview with Brett and Stephen, the Broadway Husbands. Brett and Stephen, the Broadway Husbands, as I live and breathe, welcome back to the podcast.
Hello, friends.
Hello. Thank you for having us.
Oh my gosh, it's absolutely our pleasure. First and foremost, how are you guys? How are you faring under these odd circumstances we find ourselves?
I think we're probably doing just about like everybody else. You know, we're managing it one day at a time, and
Some hours we're blissfully happy and carefree, and others we're crying in a corner, calming each other down.
we're making a lot of TikToks these days.
We literally just came from making 2 TikTok videos. So
our schedule is very busy.
We just came upstairs to do the interview from our busy TikToking schedule. No, but we're doing pretty good. We're definitely better than we were. You know, this is the 6th week of us being isolated, and we're a little bit improved, I would say, from the first week.
Yeah, your Instagram has been keeping me very entertained lately, but I totally get where you're coming from with the ups and downs. It's like we're living in a roller coaster together, basically, right now, emotionally.
We just don't know when things, Wicked I'm in Wicked, and when they closed down March 11th, right? It was something like that.
I think it was March 12th. It was a
12th.
Thursday because Friday was the 13th. My parents.
We just haven't. I just don't know anything. I don't know. It's the same thing, I think, for a lot of people who are employed. I know for anyone who's working at Disney, they don't know when they're going to have their jobs back. So we're all in this together.
The great unknown, if you will.
If there was ever a time to come up with a Broadway show, now that you're trapped in your apartment, now would be the time, right?
Yeah. You mean like to create one?
Create one, guys. It's so easy, isn't it?
Yeah. It's all you have to do is just be in quarantine.
Well, it's not that easy when you're distracted by TikTok.
TikTok, the musical.
I would buy a ticket to that for sure.
You would buy a ticket talk to that.
Uh-oh.
What?
It's not.
So, guys, have you been doing anything special to kind of keep the Disney magic alive while you've been in isolation?
There's a group of us from Wicked who are big Disney fans, and we have a little text group, and so we're always sharing things through that. So I watch my standard YouTube channels of, keeping up to date, Disney food blog, Shay Spence, of course, with all his food stuff, and Mickey Views, because it's just it hits the right nerd element for me.
And then the first week was St. Patrick's Day that we were isolated, and we watched.
We watched Darby O'Gill and the Little People for St. Patrick's Day. So Disney Plus is helping us get through. Steven
had never seen the movie before, so that was exciting and funny. And it's like almost like when you first see a movie with like when they're speaking with a British accent, it takes you like 10 minutes to like get into the world, because the first scene, like the actors are so over the top, it just took me like a minute. I was like, wait, is this for real? Oh yeah, this is what they're saying. Okay.
He laughed through the entire first scene. He thought it was hilarious.
The older woman, she was killing me.
We should also mention that you guys have started a podcast too.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah, we started the Broadway Husbands podcast
in November,
and we're still doing episodes. And the interesting thing is now so many people who are in the arts don't have work, but they're so unsure that, it's actually a really great time to have people come in and talk about how they're managing this time. So yeah, it's on the Broadway Podcast Network. If people are Broadway fans, it's a great network. They've got some really cool podcasts that are Broadway in the Broadway world.
We've actually been sort of guiding people to head over to BroadwayCares.org to donate, because we know how important it is to fund all of the millions, I imagine, of theater artists who are in need right now. Is there any other way that you can think of, or that our listeners should know about, that they can give back or help out?
Probably the best thing to do. Of course, they're all doing events online, so Broadway Cares has events, but the Actors Fund has helped us. They helped us pay our mortgage this month because we don't have employment, and the actorsfund.org has some amazing things that they do as well besides Broadway Cares. Broadway Cares helps a lot of charity organizations. The Actors Fund really helps the actors almost directly.
And not just the actors, anyone,
crew.
like ushers, box office, people that work in the theater industry.
So those are both two organizations I think that can really make a big difference for people right now.
Awesome. That's good to know, for sure. Since you've been in isolation, I know that before we started recording, I told you that I had just been making churros. I've discovered sort of a knack for baking while I've been isolated. Have you guys discovered anything about yourselves that you didn't know?
Well, we were in New York for the first 16 days of the shutdown. We were in our apartment, and we were really trying. I mean, I think like most people, we were in shock for the first week. The second week, we were trying to figure out some sort of routine. And it was really challenging in a 600 square foot apartment he's teaching ballet classes online. We'd have to move furniture around. And so we really didn't find a knack for anything. What we've done now is we do a weekly Trader Joe's run, which Trader Joe's is the most humane shopping experience right now that it's ever been.
And we had no idea that it was possible to spend. I think the most I'd ever spend in Trader Joe's is over $100, but not more than $150. And both of our recent visits, we spent like $260. I was like, how did we do that?
Trying not to leave.
Yeah, because we're just trying to eat at home and not go out for anything, and so that's what happens.
So we found a knack for like
spending money on groceries,
not eating out, and for making TikToks. That's a huge thing.
TikToks, yep, that is definitely a bonding and workout experience for us both to do together. What else have we been doing that like we haven't been doing?
That's it.
Yeah, I think everything else is pretty. Besides, like I'm a ballet dancer and I teach ballet, so like. I don't think I've danced in the living room since I was 10, 12, and now I'm like full out like dancing like a fool in my living room at least once a day. And so that's new for me.
I have a side business as the Broadway life coach, so I started a whole series for free for people who are actors to help support them called the Secure Actor Project. If any actors are listening and they're looking for some support, you don't have to be in New York. This is for people who are maybe cast members who are unemployed down in Florida or California. It's called secureactorproject.com, totally free. And I'm doing weekly, daily chats with people in the industry and trying to help create some structure for a lot of us who now don't have side jobs or acting jobs. So it's a great little community that I've been spending a lot of time on that.
That's so great that you're both able to kind of stay very active and not only help people during this time, but also keep your hand in your craft. In the same way too. I've also been offering ballet classes, but no one seems to be taking them.
They've been there. You just have to click the bottom button on the right.
Are you teaching? Are you teaching with Spaceship Earth in the background? That might help.
Yeah, that might help.
There's no way in which Epcot doesn't come into play when I teach ballet.
Of course.
It's kind of interesting, though, teaching a dance class on Zoom. You can obviously see all of the people that are there, but for sound reasons, everyone is on mute. So there's a lot of, yeah, you guys got it? Give me a thumbs up. And then a lot of like body language, like, and I'm like, yeah, thumbs up. A lot of, come on, and you're like waiting for somebody to like scream back at you and they can't. So that's been funny. It's like you're performing to a dead room, basically.
That's how I perform all the time, is just to a dead room.
It's a very haunted mansion of you.
We're going to do there's the little group of people from Wicked that we have. This guy, his name is Breedlove is his handle, but he is an amazing musician and he does Elphaba's makeup in Wicked. He's the makeup artist for her. And he's doing this like weekly series and he's interviewing AJ from Disney Food Blog this week and Shay Spence. And we're singing A Great Big Beautiful Tomorrow. We're doing something. I have some ideas I want to do, some Disney themed. Like I want to do a video where we recreate the last scene from Carousel of Progress on Zoom. Come on.
Brilliant.
It's perfect.
That's incredible. I'm down for that. That's hilarious. I love that.
Well, guys, since we have you on, we, of course, need to play some kind of game, some kind of Disney-themed game. So what we thought we would do is give you a little Walt Quizney, and we're going to be asking you 3 questions from various categories, and you get to choose the categories from which the questions come. So the categories are attractions, movies, music, food, and then there's a grab bag category where the questions are much harder but worth 2 points.
And what do we win if we get more points?
Respect. You get respect from your friends at home.
I want a Spaceship Earth background for my Zoom calls.
I can send you that. That will be your prize.
Okay, great.
I think we should start it off in attractions just to warm it up, okay?
How many rounds are there?
Yeah, how many rounds?
Just 3 questions.
3 questions. Got it. Okay.
All right, here is your first question. Which park's Splash Mountain opened first, Disneyland or Walt Disney World?
California. Disneyland.
That's correct. Disneyland in 88, Walt Disney World in 92.
You thought it was Florida.
All right.
Yeah, because America Sings, they're all recycled from America Sings.
All right. But then like that Full House episode, do you remember that Full House episode where they went But maybe they obviously.
Don't you remember the music video? Splash Mountain, zippity doo da, Splash Mountain, zippity.
I wish our listeners could see you right now. That was incredible.
TikTok. All right.
There you go.
Would you want to do the grab bag?
Sure. Let's try a grab bag question.
Oh, you're ahead of me. So round 2, we're going with grab bag. All right. Are you ready for the grab bag question?
It's going to be hard. Okay. Yes.
To the nearest dollar, what was a single-day ticket to Magic Kingdom when Walt Disney World opened?
Ooh, the nearest dollar.
I would say more than that?
It was less.
Oh my God.
No, it was super cheap. It was 71. So I feel like I knew this at one point. I'm going to say, I'm just going to guess because I can't remember, $9.99.
That is strangely really overpriced for what the actual price was. It was $3.50.
Isn't that crazy? Because you had to pay per attraction.
Oh, right.
That's
right.
That was admission, and then you paid for the attractions.
Right.
Yeah.
Man, I was way overpriced. I said my thought was $27.
Inflation's a man.
All right, guys, your last question. Do you want to stick with grab bag, go back to attractions, or do you want to try something new in movies, music, or food?
Attractions.
Back to attractions. What attraction is placed in a different land in the 4 parks in which it appears internationally?
Oh, really? Go ahead, you say it.
Haunted Mansion.
That's absolutely correct.
I wanted Steven to say it, but...
You guys have 2 points. You guys have achieved 2 points in this Walt Quizney.
$3.50. Shoot.
Well, congratulations on your 2 points. I hope that makes your day.
Thank you.
Please, put applause and fireworks.
Yeah, exactly. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us today and taking some time out of your day to spend with us. It's been a treat for us. And more than anything, we're just so happy to see you healthy and busy and happy. It's a treat to talk to you again.
Thank you. We adore you guys.
Yeah.
We're always here for whatever Gays Do the D. Oh, by the way, we did go to Disney World the week before the shutdown.
Right.
The week of the shutdown.
Literally right before.
We did 3 days at Disney World. We actually did both Universal parks and all 4 parks in 3 days. So we were there with the hand washing stations and all that stuff. And Steven could not stop saying, I'm here for the D.
I'm doing it for the
D. Up next, we have Becca, also known as Disney Kitty on YouTube and Instagram. We last talked to Becca on the pod in June of 2019. Becca, as I said, hosts a YouTube channel called Disney Kitty with content ranging from park trips to Disney subscription unboxing videos, and she also has an expansive Disney pin collection.
Jealous, Patrick?
I'm very jealous.
Becca last appeared on Gays Do the D on episode 38, and it was a really fascinating interview to dive into because we had never spoken to a YouTuber before, and she had some really interesting things to say about the pluses and minuses of being a social media presence like that.
It's true. It kind of opened our eyes to the expansive world that is social media when it comes to Disney, and she has a very well-received and well-followed YouTube channel.
So let's get right to it. Here's Becca.
Becca, a.k.a. Disney Kitty, welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
It's so good to see you again. It's been quite some time since we last heard from you.
I think it's been a little too long.
I fully agree.
But this is nice. It's great to see you both.
Oh, absolutely. First of all, we have to ask you, how are you doing? Of course, we are doing this because we're finding ourselves in a strange time right now. How are you holding up?
Okay-ish. This is weird. I can't get over the weirdness of it. And there's lovely things about it and there's awful things about it, but my overall sense is this is just so weird. I don't know what day it is. I'm eating brownies for every meal still, and we're a ways into this, so you think some structure and discipline would have kicked in, but not really for me yet.
It's so funny. Everyone we've interviewed so far, you know how usually you ask that question, how are you? And there's just that generic, I'm so great. Everything's great. Across the board, basically everyone has had the, you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. I'm doing okay. There's ups and downs. I think it's just the reality that we find ourselves in now.
Yeah. And, you know, there's lots of ways to frame it where I actually feel very grateful for my situation. There's ways to frame this time where I think, like, what good things are going to come out of this, you know? And then there's ways to frame it where I feel like, poor me, poor everybody. It's all in how you frame it. It's just a little different every day. So.
Absolutely. That is very well said. Well, I have to say, I have been keeping up with your YouTube channel, Disney Kitty. You have continued to delight with your posts. You've actually kind of mastered the technique of doing at-home videos. So this is not necessarily something new for you. Just the content is a little bit different, I imagine. How's that going for you?
Oh, it's going okay. I mean, what we're doing right now is different than making a video because when you make a video, you just talk to yourself, you know, and you feel like a nut. So this is a little bit more normal. It's great to see faces. And it's been interesting with the YouTube, you know, you'd think, oh, I have all this time at home to make all these videos. And I went like 2 weeks where I didn't even enter that space. I just couldn't. Everything is so weird. But I'm kind of back on track with that finally. And we're still going. We're still doing it. This year is interesting because at the beginning of the year, I decided I wasn't going to buy anything for the year of 2020. I'm doing a no-buy year. Not buying anything, meaning I'm not buying anything that I don't need. So I still buy like groceries and deodorant and, you know, basic things. But I'm not buying like Disney stuff. And until recently, what I did on the internet was buy Disney stuff and open it. So it's been interesting to sort of create content with a new spin. I've been doing a lot of Disney declutter videos and some updates on how not buying anything is going. And it was going great. And then the lockdown happened. And now I'm like, I need to spend my money online to cope. And I haven't done it. Like, I have stuck to this, but it's gotten so much harder because I feel like a lot of people are turning to retail therapy and I'm not giving myself that option. So that's different. It's an adventure.
It's either buying stuff or baking stuff. I think that's how people are coping with this.
Yeah, I've been doing more of the latter. So also eating stuff.
Yeah.
It's buying, baking, and binging.
That's right. The 3B, yes.
So aside from your YouTube channel, how else are you kind of finding ways to incorporate Disney magic into your everyday life now that we can't go to the parks? Is there little things you're doing at home to kind of give you that fix?
I love Disney Plus, of course. There are so many things on Disney Plus that I kind of keep going to. I've watched Frozen 2 so many times. And I didn't hear I don't think I heard your review of Frozen 2. So I don't know what you thought. And I had some strong opinions about Frozen 2 the first time I saw it in the theater. But now that I've watched it a few more times, I'm obsessed with Frozen 2 and I cry through the whole thing. It might be because we're on lockdown and I'm just emotional and sensitive and touchy and irritable, but I'm obsessed with it. And it reminds me of, like, I don't know, this is going to be really weird. Maybe you should edit this out. Have you seen Return to Oz?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's a really weird sequel. I mean, Frozen 2 is not nearly as weird as Return to Oz, but, like, I have, like, this weird kind of culty obsession with the weirdness of Return to Oz, and I kind of feel, like, excited about Frozen 2 in that way. Like, it just speaks to me in, like, a more, like, niche way than, like, the first Frozen did, and the more I watch it, or it's like Grease 2, the more I watch it, the more I'm like, this is awesome. So I've watched Frozen 2 more times than I will say. I love that Encores with Kristen Bell, who went to my college. You know, the Baby Yoda. I watch a lot of Disney Plus, and I'm still doing my videos. I still have my Disney fam. I'm supposed to be taking a flower and garden trip, you know, like next week, but that's obviously not happening. What else? I signed up for the Run Disney virtual races this summer. And I'm also signed up for the Wine and Dine Duo, the 2-course challenge in November. And I mean, who knows what's going to happen with that. But I'm acting as if that's going to happen. And I'm out running and I'm dreaming of Disney while I suffer through my running. So I'm keeping the magic alive. anything as much as I can.
I'm in the virtual run boat as well, so we should plan a virtual run together.
Yeah. And it's funny because, like, in real normal life, you could do a virtual run, like, with a person, not virtually. But, like, we will have to, even though we live very close to each other.
Yeah.
We still can't, it still has to be a virtual run for us, too, because of social distancing.
Yeah, it'll have to be a literal virtual run for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you discovered anything new about yourself, or like any hidden talents, or have you discovered any shows that you haven't ever seen before that you're obsessed with now?
Shows. I watched Hadestown on YouTube yesterday. That's not Disney, but I was excited about that. That's a Broadway show. And I'm watching on Netflix, I'm watching Ozark, which I hadn't seen. And it's very dark, but I love that Nick Wilde is the star. Nick Wilde from Zootopia is the star of Ozark. So I'm enjoying that. I watched Tiger King, of course. That was the first thing I watched. I don't know. I'm making my way through the things. Do you have any suggestions? I feel like I'm getting down to like the bottom of the barrel on things to watch.
I know. I keep saying I'm running out of Netflix.
Yeah. I mean, that's a real problem. This is real life. We're running out of Netflix. And they can't even like make them now because they can't even get together to like, I'm just like, oh my God, like, are we never going to see the second season of Mandalorian? And like, what's like, no, I bet it's like in post-production, but I mean, I really hope it is because I really want it.
That was the worst thing you ever could have said to me, Becca.
Do you like it?
Mandalorian, I love it. If there's no season 2, you just like crushed my dreams a little bit.
Like, that was actually the first. So, okay. When this whole thing happened and Disney announced that they were putting Frozen 2 on Disney Plus early, and then they put Onward on Disney Plus, I was like, yes, maybe we're going to get an early Mandalorian season 2. But then I was like, oh my gosh, what if they can't finish it because of social distancing? And I was like, oh no. And I went down like a sad spiral because I thought about no Baby Yoda. So
depending on when this interview airs in our episodes, I actually just read an article today that they're working on pre-production for season 3 of The Mandalorian right now. That kind of makes me feel like they were far enough along that maybe they're editing now, and that's something that kind of can be done with less people on hand. So maybe they will have an early release for The Mandalorian season 2.
Disney Plus, Mandalorian overlords, if you're listening, hurry it up, okay? This is getting dire.
The people need it.
Yes.
All the special effects are just going to be Lego ships flying by because they want to get it out as quickly as possible.
As long as Baby Yoda's there, I'm good.
Well, Becca, you know part of the deal of this interview was that you have to answer some Disney questions for us. We have to give you a Walt Quizney.
I feel afraid.
Don't be afraid. You are going to do excellent. I can feel it already. So we have broken it down into categories. We're going to be asking you 3 questions, and you get to choose the categories those questions come from.
Kind of like Jeopardy.
Kind of like Jeopardy, except we won't give you the answer.
But I get to choose the category. Yeah.
The categories are attractions, movies, music, food, and then there's a grab bag category where the questions are harder, but each question is worth 2 points.
I mean, okay, let's maybe start with food since my life is basically about food these days.
Great. Your question is, what is the most popular food in Disney theme parks?
The most popular food? I mean, is this a trick question?
Let me say this. What is the most popular food item in Disney parks?
I want to say it's the Mickey-shaped premium bar, but I have other thoughts. Can I get a 50-50?
I would go with your gut on this one, Becca.
Okay, I'm going to go with the Mickey premium bar.
That's correct.
Yay! I thought maybe it was like popcorn. People love Disney popcorn. Or I thought maybe the turkey leg, which I've never experienced the turkey leg, but I know a lot of people like to experience the turkey leg.
I think in volume, more popcorn is distributed, but more actual premium bars are purchased every year.
That makes sense. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right. Question 2. Do you want to stay with food, or do you want to move on to attractions, movies, music, or grab bag?
Let's do music.
Music it is. In the song Gaston from Beauty and the Beast, in a wrestling match, what does nobody do like Gaston?
In a wrestling match, nobody bites like Gaston? Is that right?
That is the correct answer.
Okay.
That was super impressive.
In a wrestling match, nobody bites like Gaston, and he bites the leg in the movie, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 2 points for you, Becca. Do you want to stick with music, head back to food, or do you want to try one of the other categories like attractions, movies, or grab bag?
I mean, how much harder is grab bag? Because I want points, but I feel nervous.
I won't lie to you. I feel like grab bag is going to be easier for you than most because of your extensive Disney knowledge.
Oh my gosh. But I have a reputation to uphold here, people. So I'll try the grab bag. I feel brave. I burn my batteries. Let's just do it. Okay.
All right, Becca, for 2 points. How tall is Cinderella Castle?
I feel like that's a question for someone who knows about architecture. Do I look like a person who knows about architecture? I don't know the answer to that. I'm sure I've heard it like a lot of times. I feel like if I was, like a math person, it would have stuck in my brain. But it just, when I hear a number, it's like, whoop.
You want a different grab bag question?
Yes. But now I'm scared. Now you've intimidated me. Now you've intimidated me. Wait, first of all, how tall is it?
It is 189 feet.
Okay, well, yeah, I wasn't going to guess that.
All right, I'll give you another grab bag question because I like you.
Okay.
Of the 4 main Disney World parks, which is the smallest?
Magic Kingdom?
That is correct.
Yay!
You walk away with 4 points.
Yes! Like DVC points?
Yes, 4 whole DVC points. That will buy you 10 minutes in a room.
Okay. Depends on the room.
Well, Becca, thank you so much for playing our game, first of all, but thank you for taking the time out of your day to join us. It is always a treat to talk to you. We're so happy to see that you're healthy and you're staying busy and you're happy and you're here with us right now, which is the best thing of all.
Well, thank you. This was literally the only thing on my schedule all day long. So thank you for making me feel like I'm a person that has one thing to do in a whole day. No, it's my pleasure. I'm glad that you guys are happy and healthy as well. It's awesome to see you on my screen.
And last up for part 1 of Gaze Do the Distance, we have Amanda and Ben. Amanda actually first appeared on Gaze Do the D in episode 12, and they've appeared together as a couple in episodes 28 and 50.
That's right. As you said, Amanda appeared by herself back in November 2018, where she went down the rabbit hole with us to discuss becoming an annual pass holder. And then she and Ben were both on in March to talk about one of their trip reports and to talk about becoming new DVC members. And then they were both on again this past August to do a trip report with the both of us when all 4 of us went to Walt Disney World for Gay Days Orlando.
I had forgotten how many times they've been on the podcast.
I would say 2 too many.
2 too many. They have reached special guest star status where they now demand dressing rooms and catered meals.
That's right. They both get a Letterman jacket now for appearing more than 2 times on Gaze Do the D.
You can find Amanda on Instagram at BlueNote3, and you can find Ben on Instagram at BenTG. And as we mentioned previously on the podcast, they both run a theater company called Delico Arts, and you can learn more about Delico Arts at delicoarts.com. That's DALEKO arts.com.
Well, I know we had no enjoyment in talking to Ben and Amanda again, but please, listeners out there, enjoy our interview with Ben and Amanda.
Welcome back to the podcast, Amanda and Ben.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. It's so good to be here.
Thanks for having us, you guys.
So we have to ask, how are you both faring under these bizarre circumstances?
Whew, they are bizarre.
Yeah, we're losing our minds a little bit. You guys are probably feeling this too, but it's an interesting balance between not denying the fact that this is really strange and also, nationally traumatic. In fact, internationally, but also we're really lucky. A lot of people don't have the space that we have. We have a yard. So those things are kind of keeping us feeling like there are people out there who are really having a rough time. So
we also, knock on wood, we don't have anyone in our immediate family who's being, who has this virus or anything like that yet. So as of right now, the extent of our misery is, we're getting bored of Netflix and stuff. So it could be much worse than it is.
For sure.
Yeah, it's interesting what we are now holding dear, like things like eggs and flour and the internet are like luxuries right now.
Totally. My family and I were joking this past week that like what the difference is between when you were a little kid, what you thought the year 2020 would look like, and like what it does look like trading sourdough starter recipes with your buddies is not the way I imagined this year going down, but here we are.
Isn't it interesting that we are technically connected via like the internet, right? But suddenly people are like baking bread because it's a comfort, but it's also like old timey. So there's like this juxtaposition of technology and then like these weird like baking habits that are happening.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Our friends Anna and Sean Bird, as you may know, are zombie preppers in that they are very like specific and detailed about how they plan out like who's on my team for the zombie apocalypse. And what's the game plan? Where are we going to go if this thing goes down? And it always makes me laugh, but I'm realizing, you guys, I don't know if I'm a good team member yet. Like, am I using tools well? Have I planted the garden in the correct way for us to survive? I don't know. So we're going to I'll get back to you at the end of the summer and let you know. Am I worthy of the team? I don't know yet.
Well, I want you on my quarantine, Amanda.
Patrick Kazuki.
Hey, what about me?
I guess, yeah, that leaves Ben for me.
Yeah, we'll see how you do in the quiz at the end of this.
All right.
You guys, he can wash some dishes, man.
You're going to need me for the dishwashing.
Have either of you learned anything about yourselves or about each other as a couple during this madness?
I have. I feel like, these are all like super dramatic things. Like maybe you don't want me to get heavy on the podcast. But I've also been sort of dealing with when this first started, and this is probably a place we can go in a minute if you want to, but our coronavirus journey started in the beginning of March when we had planned a trip to Disney World. And I took a huge road trip. I drove from Minnesota in my car all the way down to Orlando and all the way back up along the Mississippi River, and took about a week to do it. And so when I got back, for some reason, I think because I had been exposed to a lot of humans by the time I got back, I went through this really weird period of something I've never experienced in my life to this degree, which was like crippling anxiety. And so kind of learned about how to navigate those worlds with myself. I was really surprised by the level of anxiety, and also gave me a deep appreciation for people who really struggle with that on a daily basis. That is not a thing that I have to navigate when I get up and go to work in the morning, or when, I'm navigating social situations. So for those of you out there in podcast land who do navigate those waters every day, boy, am I impressed by you, because that is not fun at all. What about you, Benj?
Something interesting that happened to me, I think, was because we're always working on a show. For me, it's either I'm working on a show with my kids at school, or I'm working on a show with our company. There's almost never a time when I'm not working on a show. And so when this first started, the show I was working on with my kids gets canceled. And then the show we're working on with our company gets canceled. And it took about 2 weeks where I was like, oh, this is great. Like I relaxed. I was playing video games. Everything was fine. I just was turning my brain off. It took about 2 weeks for my creativity tank to like fill up again. And then I was like, I need to do something. I was like instantly like, can I be writing more? What can I do to fill this void that I normally have filled? I needed some sort of outlet. And it didn't take long. I thought it would take a lot longer than that. But yeah, it was about 2 weeks before I was like, I'm so bored. I need to do something right now.
You guys, I cannot stop baking, but otherwise I'm the opposite of Ben. When I'm not working with my students, which is a totally, different scenario, I teach. So my classes are now online. And when I'm outside of that frame, I'm literally staring into space. I can't figure out what to do with myself. I'm just sipping tea and staring into the void.
But I think you're using the baking, like you're in the kitchen doing the creative stuff. I think that's your creative outlet.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah.
Okay. But I am playing 2 Dots, a game on my phone, really a lot. Just like hours.
She's playing it a lot.
I would like you to know that I was level 152 before I fell asleep last night.
Yeah, that alert that comes up that tells you how much you spend time on your phone lately is really shocking to me now. I'm just like, oh, turn that alert off. I don't want to know.
Yep.
You know what else I think that this has done is I don't know about you guys, but it's made me feel closer to my friends because it's made me realize how much I need my friends versus just like being like, oh, my friends are just, around and I can hang out with them whenever. But like when you can't, it really, it's no fun. And you realize how much you need that connection to other people.
Yeah.
Because I'm an introvert too. When this first started, I was like, not a big deal. But yeah, it's hard. It's a lot harder than I thought it would be.
Well, it's nice to know, Ben, that it only took a international pandemic for you to appreciate us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's true. But I do now.
We got here. That's what matters.
So last time we had you guys on the pod, which seems like 8 million years ago, Amanda, you basically spent a full month and a half of your life in Disney World.
I did.
And we wanted to get you on the pod to talk about that at length, but tell us just a couple of quick fun things that you experienced while you were there for literally a month of your life.
Yeah. You guys, it's so interesting. I think, in terms of my experience with Disney World, some of the things that really struck me were that suddenly I had the opportunity, when we've gone before, the only time we've ever gone and sort of experienced things that weren't on the beaten path was our trip with you guys in October. But otherwise, that wasn't October, August. But otherwise, we've done like the greatest hits mostly when we've gone because it's limited time and you're there, with family or whatever and just hit those things. So now I had the chance to really experiment. I wandered around to see things that I would not have normally seen. I dug down into those corners at the World Showcase. I really had the chance to wander and meander and feel like, I had some space there. And the whole thing culminated with Patrick and me running the half marathon. So it felt like also this working up to this personal goal that was really, I don't know, that was a wild trip. I'm going to be really frank with you. I know this is coming from a place of profound privilege to say this, but I think maybe a little too much time. It was too much, perhaps, only in that there are some things that I think started to kind of lose that gild when you're navigating them every day. But man, was that fun. It was like a joy. And I was a little nervous because at the end of the trip, I had a couple days by myself and Patrick kept saying, it's going to be your favorite time of the trip. Trust me, you're going to love every second of it. And it was a complete and total joy. I was nervous about feeling like, I don't know what to do or where to go, but it was the best. I got to just on a whim decide like, I just want some of those cheeseburger egg rolls or whatever and just go. So it was so fun, a total delight. And Patrick was a hero during the half marathon. Patrick is at a different fitness level than I am, shall we say. It's true. And I was so worried. I talked to him all the way through November and December saying, you can leave me, just leave me behind when we get to that point. And he kept saying, I'm not leaving you behind. You're my teammate. You're my partner in this. We're doing it. And so that day, I know that man could have left me in the dust so many times, stayed right there by me. And it was like, Adam, it was the outer edge of my fitness capacity. I really pushed myself that day. And I know that this was not the case for Patrick, but maybe it has been in races past. That for me was a psychological barrier like nothing I can even explain to you in my lifetime. The idea that my body could do that and could maintain a pace and could fight through the physical sort of there is a fear that goes along with it. Just maybe my body will break down. Maybe I can't count on it to do this. And it did it anyway. It was just like a really fascinating psychological and emotional process for me, maybe more so than the physical one.
Did you poop your pants?
I didn't. No, I didn't. I didn't do that, which is a surprise. It came as a surprise.
Thank you, Ben. We normally ask the hard-hitting questions like that, but thank you for taking the lead on that.
Yeah. No problem.
Yeah.
No, you did an amazing job, Amanda. And let's not forget that it was roughly 3 million degrees that day. Like, we were running under extraordinary circumstances. So you did a wonderful job.
Thanks, friend. It was awesome to have you there. It was a thrill to be. And Patrick knows everybody. Like, while we're running, he's like saying hi to people. We stopped and said hi to people. It was wild. So anyway, it was just, and my family came. Ben's family was there for a while. I mean, not that these are two different families, but, you know, for the purposes of the explanation, Ben's family came. It was so great to have all his nieces and nephews. And then mine came, and we haven't been at Disney World for 30 years, as you know, from previous conversations on the pod. So it was just a really cool time. It was super fun. And we didn't feel like we got enough. So we went back in March.
Great timing.
Yeah, great timing.
While you were there in March, did you experience any weirdness while you were there? Were there people sort of practicing the 6 feet away or more hand sanitizer, or did you notice anything at that point?
There were 84 confirmed cases of coronavirus in the United States the day we left to go to Disney.
So it was very early, and I don't think anyone was worried about it yet. Although we were, I mean, we talked about, we were like, should we really go right now? This seems like a bad idea. But at that time, there were no reported cases in Florida. Like, everything seemed like it was okay still. But while we were there, we were constantly saying, should we not touch this thing? Should we sit away from these people? Like, we were thinking about it a lot. I'm sure other people were too, but we didn't see, there weren't masks or anything like that.
No, at all. I mean, there were they'd set up a lot of stations, actually. As you came in, there were Purell stations galore, which was interesting. And there were a lot of, Ben and I figured out a system for scanning fingerprints where you didn't have to touch the glass. So
that's right. I forgot about the hand sanitizer. They did have hand sanitizer everywhere, and so much so that most of them were out of hand sanitizer most of the time. So I guess people were thinking about it in terms of just like making sure their hands were clean.
It did occur to us while we were there that when you're in the space, you can really realize the hugeness of Disney, like how vast the organization is. So the thought of it all closing down while we were there, we, had several conversations about what would that look like, if they had to close the doors. So my hat is off to that company, because Ben and I just closed ours, our little tiny company, which was like a hot mess. I mean, not fun at all. Just had little bits of trauma associated with it, and we'll reopen when we can. But can you imagine making the decisions, the financial and like personnel decisions to close down an organization like Walt Disney Company? I mean,
especially because for them, it's not only Disney World, it's an economy, an entire economy, like all the bus drivers and all the Uber drivers and restaurants. And I mean, it's just insane what that will do to that local economy.
We should start talking about this on the podcast more, Adam. I don't know.
Right.
Well, it's time to move on to the quiz portion of this interview.
I'm scared.
I'm confident.
Okay, we'll see how this goes. So there are multiple categories to choose from. We have attractions, movies, music, food, and then there's a grab bag portion, which is worth 2 points. Each question is harder, and it's worth 2 points. And I think you both can answer as a couple. I think that you can play as a couple, and that will improve your chances, certainly. So, of the categories I mentioned, where do you want to start?
You choose.
I want to start with food. Shocker.
It's a great place to start.
Thank you.
Ben and Amanda, what popular snack chip was invented in Disneyland?
Oh, it's not multiple choice?
It is not multiple choice, but it is a very, very popular snack chip.
Oh, dear.
Is there any? Let's see.
Oh, dear.
Doritos?
Yeah, sure.
Why, though? I don't know. Just because?
It's Popular snack chip. Are you guys waiting for us in real time, or will this be edited out?
The fact that you just said that makes me not want to edit that out.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
we're keeping that for sure.
We're going to go with Doritos.
That's correct.
Hey!
Why? Why were Doritos?
There was a restaurant called Casa de Fritos, and they would make too many tortilla chips, and they didn't know what to do with the leftover tortilla chips, and so they seasoned them and flavored them, and that's how Doritos were created, and then people loved them so much that they became their own product.
Shut up.
Wow.
I love it. We are so good at this.
Wow. Aggressive. All right. Are you ready for question number 2, Ben and Amanda? Do you want to stick with food or move on to a different category?
We want a different category.
Great. So you have attractions, movies, music, or grab bag.
Attractions, please.
Ben and Amanda, what is the tagline or motto associated with It's a Small World?
The tagline or motto?
I'm trying to imagine going into the ride, because it's got to be displayed somewhere around the ride.
Okay.
Keep in mind, Amanda, you were just in Disney World for a full month.
Patrick. I only went on It's a Small World one time, the whole time I was there. It's on the ride? Is it in the music? Can I phone a friend? Okay.
I feel like it's on the tip of my brain, and I feel like when you say it, I'm gonna remember. I'm gonna be disappointed in myself.
I'm already disappointed in you. What is it? We give up. Oh my gosh. Should we guess? Should we just guess?
Make a guess.
It's a Small World. The tagline is something about inclusion or something like that.
We'll be back.
Older than your grandmother.
Both of those are excellent guesses. Strangely, not the answer. The answer is the happiest cruise that ever sailed.
Oh, it is too. Wait, that's not the Jungle Cruise?
Nope, not at all.
Okay, this is your last question, you two. This is your last chance. Do you want to stick with attractions, or do you want to jump to another category? We still have movies, music. You can go back to food, and we have the grab bag, which is worth 2 points.
Who are we competing against?
Not only yourselves, but every other person we're interviewing from past interviews.
Oh, then we better do grab bags.
We got to do grab bags.
We got to get as many points as we can.
I love this. This is go big or go home, right? Or just go big, stay home?
Yep.
All right. Remember, these questions are harder, but I'm proud of you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Which ride appears in 6 of Disney's 12 parks worldwide?
There's one ride?
There's only one ride that appears in 6 of Disney's 12 parks. It's the only ride that appears in the most parks.
Okay, let's think about this.
Okay.
What are some, mainstays?
Well, Haunted Mansion.
Okay. Is Space Mountain in a bunch of them?
No.
Okay. What about Splash Mountain? Is that in more than one?
It's pretty uniquely American.
Okay.
I bet it's got a different iteration.
Maybe we should...
About It's a Small World?
Oh, interesting.
It is the happiest cruise on Earth.
I mean, is this a trick question? Is it going to be the carousel or something dumb?
Do not say that in front of Patrick. He loves the carousel.
Oh, sorry.
Let me take this opportunity to jump in here and just kind of gently nudge you in a direction.
Okay.
It is a classic Disney attraction.
It's going to be It's a Small World.
Okay.
I do want to remind you both that we only have about 20 minutes for these interviews, and so far, you've taken up 30 of those 20 minutes.
We're going with, is that all right?
Yeah, let's do it.
We're going with It's a Small World, Adam.
That is incorrect. It is actually Dumbo the Flying Elephant.
I knew it was going to be one of the little kid rides.
That is not a little kid ride.
It is.
I'm sorry. We've let you down.
It's proven how little you listen to the podcast.
That is not correct, you guys.
I've never been more offended in my entire life than I am right now with the two of you.
It's time for Amanda to go bake some bread.
Yeah.
How well do you think our 1 point will hold up overall?
Where we're at right now, we've recorded 2 of these sessions and you're tied.
Yes.
Oh, hey.
All right.
We tied with Anna. If you're listening to this, Anna, we were faster with our 1 point.
She will be listening because Anna does actually listen to our podcast, Amanda.
I listen to the podcast, you guys. I'm sorry. I'm not caught up from last week. I'm sorry. I listen. In fact, usually I send you text messages live texting it while I'm listening.
No, we know you do, and we love you for listening, and we sincerely appreciate it. And we appreciate you taking the time to allow us to check in with you to make sure that you're safe and healthy and happy. And we can't wait to be able to see you again in person very soon.
You guys, we miss you and love you.
Yeah, we love you guys.
Hey, all you folks out there too, take it easy. Be careful and gentle and well.
Well, Patrick, that wraps up our first round of check-ins with previous guests on the podcast. It's been so great to follow up with them and hear how well they're doing under these circumstances, and also kind of get some tips about things we can do at home to keep the Disney magic alive.
It's true. We had such a good time talking to everybody. As you said, we got to learn a little bit about what they've been up to, some tips for keeping the Disney magic alive, and we learned that most of them know nothing about Disney because of their failure in the Walt Disney episodes.
As we were going through those quizzes, I felt pretty guilty because some of the questions we were asking were quite hard, and maybe for like a Disney fan of our level and our beauty and our intellect.
I just want to point out once again that Amanda spent 1/12 of a year in Walt Disney World and yet did not know anything about Walt Disney World.
Well, thank you to all of our previous guests who we interviewed for today's episode. That's our friend Anna, the Broadway husbands Brett Shuford and Stephen Hanna, Becca, and Amanda and Ben.
Thank you, everybody, and we look forward to presenting our next lineup of interviews for next week. In the meantime, Adam, I would love to know what all of our Tweedledees are doing at home to keep the magic alive.
That's a fantastic idea, Patrick. Tell us what you're doing at home during this time of isolation. You can reach out to us on social media. That's Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at GDTD Podcast.
Or you can always leave us an email or a voice memo at info@gaysdothed.com.
I wonder if any of our Tweedledees have considered painting large-scale portraits of us to hang over fireplaces.
If they do, that is the only thing I want coming out of isolation is paintings of me.
Just a tasteful 40-inch by 60-inch tall portrait of you in perhaps a waistcoat and some riding pants.
At the most. And I need this to be on velvet as well. I don't have a lot of demands, but just, a velvet oil painting.
Yes, nothing says tasteful like a velvet oil painting.
Maybe eating a Mickey pretzel with cheese dripping down ever so delicately onto my bosoms.
Hey, Patrick.
Hey, Adam.
The director's cut of this recording session will include us murdering our dogs.
This was a disaster of a day. We have dogs barking. I dropped my mic. I spilled some water. I almost set fire to my house.
Almost.
I might do it on purpose next.
The day is young.
Yeah.
And hey, it's something to do, right? That's fun.
Yeah, it is something to do. It's true.
Well, we've made it to Quick D, thank goodness. We're just going to blow through this Quick D before any dog starts barking or before any other natural disaster strikes this recording session. This week's Quick D is Quick D Classic. That is Quick D Question, where Patrick and I ask each other a question we have not been privy to prior to recording, and we answer it off the cuff. Patrick, do you have a question prepared?
I do have a question prepared, Adam.
As do I. This may be a Gays Do the D first.
This might be.
I'm going to go first, Patrick. Is that okay?
That is more than okay, Adam.
All right, Patrick. I can't believe neither one of us has asked this question yet.
Uh-oh.
Here goes. Patrick, we know you love Flynn Rider, so I'm going to eliminate him from the equation altogether.
Mm-hmm.
And ask you this. Which non-human or anthropomorphic Disney characters, give me 3, would you like to be quarantined with and why?
Wait, so they're non-human and non-anthropomorphic, or they are anthropomorphic?
What I'm trying to say is like, so animals, right? Animals with human qualities. Or like the genie. He's non-human, but he's also not an animal.
So they are on the table. Basically, just any non-human.
Any non-human character.
There we go. Let's see. I think clearly first on the top of my list is Robin Hood.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you love him. Yeah.
That foxy mother. You know?
Is a large part of his foxiness the fact that he's not wearing pants?
Well, there is a large part down there.
Okay.
You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
What does a fox's penis even look like?
Well, we're going to be in quarantine for a long time, so I will be able to draw you many pictures of it.
A lot of time for discovery, yes.
So that's one down, 2 to go.
I also feel sorry for the other 2 characters you're quarantined with because they're going to have to watch whatever happens with you and Robin Hood.
It's like Late Night with Andy Cohen. Watch what happens live.
That's exactly what I was thinking too, Patrick. What a bizarre reference you just threw out there.
Is it bizarre, or is it right on par with where my mind usually goes? I guess my second choice would have to be Lumiere, because to get real, Adam, we might run out of electricity, and I'm going to need a candle.
Plus, Lumiere will be able to provide romantic candlelight for all your dalliances with Robin Hood.
That's exactly correct. That is exactly correct. And I think last on my list, and this is because I think we both know I'll be getting rid of both of my dogs after today, I'm going to choose Pongo from 101 Dalmatians because I will need another dog.
A replacement dog.
A replacement dog.
A loyal, quiet companion.
That's exactly right. Quiet is the key word there.
Pongo's also kind of sexy.
I think I'm okay saying that about Robin Hood because he does at least have anthropomorphic features, whereas Pongo is just a dog, Adam. He's just a dog.
He talks.
I guess when you're right, you're right. And that's all you're looking for in a companion.
Yeah.
Great.
All right. Well, those are 3 very sensible choices, Patrick. They're all male.
Well noted.
I don't know why I'd be surprised by that. Yeah, they're all males. All right, great job. That was great. Those were pretty much exactly where I thought you'd go with those.
The correct answers is what you're looking for here, Adam.
The correct answers. All 3 of them were the correct answers, yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Well, Adam, I have a question for you.
Yes?
It seems we may be in isolation for longer than we want to, Adam, and I believe it is our duty as Gays Do the D hosts to create a survival pack for people at home in isolation. Other than our podcast, what can we put in our survival pack to get people through these lonely times?
Fascinating. Fascinating question, Patrick. Does it have to be Disney things?
I mean, we do have a Disney podcast, Adam, so I would like you to steer it toward Disney, but you can throw some curveballs in there. Do what you need to do. These are tough times.
Okay. I think everyone should include in their survival pack a pair of Mickey or Minnie ears.
Sensible.
But maybe there's face masks over each ear so they're on theme.
I actually really love that idea.
Yeah, someone should create a pair of Mickey or Minnie ears with face masks on them. Actually, you could just dress up a pair that you already own because I know there are Disney-themed face masks already being produced.
That's a really good point.
I think people should include an extra pair of underwear in their survival kit, Disney-themed underwear.
Thank you for keeping it on theme, Adam.
Do you own a pair of Disney underoos, Patrick? Do you have Disney underwear?
Well, I don't own underwear, but if I did, I would have a Disney pair of underwear. But I don't currently have one.
Okay, neither do I. But that just means it's an opportunity for people to get out those art supplies, get out a pair of your tidy whities or white panties. I don't like that word, panties. And just draw on them or paint on them, paint your favorite character, dress it up, but put your mark on it, so to speak.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Please keep your mark off of my underwear, though.
Gross. So gross.
You know what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying. I think people should also put in their survival packs just a bottle of vodka, but if it has to be Disney brand vodka, maybe like rip out a page from a coloring book, color it, and just wrap it around that bottle.
We're getting real desperate over here.
And if you're going to be consuming all of that vodka while wearing your Mickey or Minnie ears and underwear, we're probably going to need some food, right?
We are absolutely going to be needing some food, Adam. Some snacks, if you will.
So last but not least, into your survival kit, I would recommend making some fudge. I would recommend doing your best to make a Mickey pretzel. Patrick, we've seen how well yours have turned out in the past.
That's a strong word, well, but they were edible.
Make yourself a Mickey ice cream bar.
Ooh.
I don't know how. I mean, figure it out. And then just shove that into your survival kit. Shove all 3 of those into your survival kit. Refrigerate it, because the ice cream bar is going to melt if you don't, and the fudge is going to get all kinds of goopy. But that will sustain you. Little known fact, fudge, Mickey bars, Mickey ice cream bars give you 100% of your day's nutrients and will ensure that you remain healthy and happy and strong throughout your isolation.
And those are just facts, people. Those are just facts.
I don't make this stuff up. Maybe the survival kit itself is made out of fudge. And then you just eat your way through to your ears, your underwear, and your vodka.
And we're going to call it Eat Your Way to Survival.
I mean, I've pretty much been doing that anyway.
That will do it for this episode of Gays Do the D. Thanks for listening. To become a patron of the podcast, visit our website at gaysdothed.com/donate. For a donation of any amount, you can receive exclusive Gays Do the D content and help us continue to bring you the very best Disney news and discussion. Continue the conversation after this episode on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at GDTD Podcast. Submit your questions or show ideas to info@gaysdothed.com. Have a great week, everybody. See ya real soon.